Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Different Panels podcast right here on the Durgaburgers channel, live on YouTube. I'm Adam, your host, and here's the deal with the Different Panels podcast. It's all about comic book nerd stuff. That's all we like to talk about. If you're interested, come and join us. Here today, we're going to discuss 5 great topics. Joining us are our panelists. Introduce yourselves.
Well, considering you're about to say my name, I might as well go first.
Yeah.
My name is Stephen. You might have heard from me from such brilliant playthroughs as Sonic 2000. Shut up, Sonic 2006 and The Saboteur. And this was my idea, actually, contrary to what people might think. But I just had to get that in there. Moving on.
You have the greatest white man on this channel.
Oh my god.
Guy who carried Steven in the Dragon Ball Z commentary we did.
Yeah.
But
sure. Okay.
What's your name?
His name is Ryan Carroll.
Sonny.
And our last panelist.
Andrew.
Oh my god.
That's it.
How?
I don't have a large introduction like
He's rich and he's from Canada. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know New York was Canada.
Let's get on to our first topic. As we know, last week the announcement had been made that our Suicide Squad casting has been official, as well as one character that is still yet to be decided, but there are 3 big candidates that are being discussed, and that's for Amanda Waller. The cast as of right now stands as Jared Leto has been officially confirmed to be the Joker. Margot Robbie is our Harley Quinn. Jai Courtney is our Captain Boomerang. We got Tom Hardy as Rick Flag. Will Smith will be Deadshot, and Cara Delevingne, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Everybody has a problem with her last name, is Enchantress. And as for Amanda Waller, at the moment, the 3 big names that are being looked at are Viola Davis, Octavia Spencer, and for some strange reason, Warner Brothers' big name for this, Oprah Winfrey. So, let's go through real quick before we get this debate going. Steven, what are your opinions on our casting, as well as the Amanda Waller speculation?
Wow.
Okay, see, here's the thing, right? I'm not a big movies guy, so the only thing I can really say for certain is that Will Smith as Deadshot could either go really well or be a beautiful piece and miscasting. That will go terribly. I mean, I've heard. My turn. Thank you. Yeah. Anyway, I've heard good things about Jared Leto. So, he could be a good Joker. I don't know. As for the rest of them, never. Did I just say I was never heard Tom Hardy? That's not right. But whenever Tom Hardy's in, I'll confess, anytime Tom Hardy's in something, he just kind of blends into the background for me. So I can't really comment on him. As for the Amanda Waller thing, Jesus Christ, Oprah Winfrey.
All right, Andrew.
Wow, I'll go next. Okay.
Honestly, I think this might be one of the most stacked comic book movie casts we've gotten in a while. I'm interested in seeing where this goes. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn stands out to me. Jared Leto as the Joker is my personal favorite casting, and Will Smith, like Steven said, it's either gonna be really good or really bad. But it's Will Smith. He's a household name. He's definitely gonna get people to see this movie. The only one I'm just kind of about is Tom Hardy, and that's only because to me it's still too recent. Since he's been in a DC movie, I feel it's too soon that he's playing a different character that isn't Bane. But that's really all I have to say. And for the Amanda Waller thing, not familiar with the character, but odd choices.
All right, and Carol.
Oh, now I get to speak. You skipped over me. But anyway, they're lucky that they got the cast, 'cause without it, I think it would be a flop of a movie. Because I think out of all the movies coming out, this is, besides the casting, the movie I'm least interested in. And I think Jared Leto as the Joker is a perfect casting decision. I agree with Andrew over here. I don't like Tom Hardy in the movie for the fact that he's too recent. And I don't even care about Oprah. I'm not African American.
Excuse me.
Let's go over the big thing here. A lot of people are wondering about Joker's involvement. As we know, he's not a member of the Suicide Squad. People are saying he's only in there because of Harley, and also people are saying that he's in there because he's going to help transition us with the Batman solo movie that's coming out. So, takes on what you think Joker's point in this movie is going to be. We'll start with Carol this time.
See that again? Now I zoned out.
Oh yeah.
What do you think is Joker's purpose in this movie? Do you think he's going to be part of the squad? Do you think he's going to be the villain of the movie, or do you think he's going to have a small cameo to connect us to the other DC movies as well as the solo
Okay,
Batman?
I get it, Nico. Okay, I get it. Okay.
We'll start with
My theory is that I think he'll be kind of the villain, but not really the villain, seeing as the film's a group of supervillains. So I think I'm willing to bet this won't happen. My theory and what I would do is that he's kind of trying to make Harley not want to do this because he's trying to basically just try to convince her not to help them and just help him get what he wants out of it. And he's gonna kind of be like the voice in her ear trying to convince her to do bad stuff, yet instead of not doing what she's supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
yes. It's a good idea to do that, and I think it's pretty obvious that they were going to have Harley in this movie if Joker wasn't involved. Even though nowadays in the comics she is becoming her own character, standalone without Joker's involvement. But I guess for the introduction to the audience, this is how they're going to do it. We'll continue with Steve.
Well, I obviously I can't say for certain what they're going to be doing with Joker, or else I don't have inside information, even though I wish I did. But it'd also be nice if somebody stopped scratching their mic. But I lost my train of thought. Yeah, if I was gonna include Joker in this movie, basically what I would do was have Joker off screen sometime before the movie, have Joker and Harley be captured together. They're thrust into this by Waller, and they're on the team with Flag and everybody else. And basically, some way halfway during the film or whatever, Joker works out how to get out of their Suicide Squad's clutches and starts wreaking havoc. And then the end of the movie turns into let's stop the Joker because the Joker's
So
the
you
big villain.
actually have him as a part of the squad at the beginning.
I would. I think it'll be an interesting dynamic because you have Deadshot who's just there to get the job done. You have all the others. I can't bother to go through all of them. But then you have Joker being the wild card. Just you don't know what his aim is. You don't know whether he's going to be there to help them or not. He could be messing it up. He could just have fun trying to help them, and then eventually he betrays them. Tries to take Harley with him, but it doesn't work. Or whatever.
And Andrew?
I could see them going a few different ways with this. Like, is this gonna be like an origin story like Guardians of the Galaxy was, or are they gonna start the movie as a team?
The way that they're portraying the movie is it's going to be sort of an Ocean's 11 or a Dirty Dozen type deal where it's going to just throw us right into it. Waller's going to set up the squad, and we're pretty much going to it's going to be like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just minus the fun-loving stuff. It's going to be a lot more gritty. It's going to be a lot more action, and obviously we're following villains. So that's my biggest thing is are they going to be able to write characters that are villains for us to care about? But that's how they're setting up the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, this is unique because I think this might be coming out before Sinister Six, so this might be the first supervillain team movie that we've had so far. With the Joker, I can see them kind of doing what Steven said, where he's in the squad at the beginning and then turns on him at the end, or I could see the opposite, where he's against them in the beginning and then joins them at the end. But also, because it's rumored apparently that Lex Luthor might be in this movie as well, they could just be going for, the big DC villains, including them in this movie somehow, and then just working that into different ones. But I don't know. For some reason, since Jared Leto has kind of got near top billing, I'm pretty sure he's going to have an important role in the movie. I just can't tell you what exactly.
All right. Now, another big thing coming out is, as well as Lex Luthor, people are also speculating that Ben Affleck, our Batman, will also be making an appearance. Do you think it's necessary for Batman to be involved? Anybody can go first for this.
No.
No.
Oh, for
I
God's
don't
sake.
think.
Steven, would you like to be devil's advocate?
I will be devil's advocate. I'll let Carol say his piece first, and then I guess I have to take that role.
No,
It's
you
a
No,
go
no,
good
if you're
first.
gonna make you were gonna make your
I
point.
went first.
So,
I went first last time. You go first now.
oh, for God's sake. Fine. Right, seeing that I'm gonna play devil's advocate, I think Ben Affleck and Batman are two of the biggest names in the whole universe. You want somebody familiar there. I know they're gonna have Lex Luthor maybe, but you want somebody else who's familiar, somebody who's gonna act as a cornerstone or pillar of the universe, and you want them to be there to steady a ship that's, quite frankly, a risky thing to be doing. So you throw Batman in there, familiar face, familiar hero, get him into the plot somehow, even if it's a small thing, and people say, "Oh, look, it's Batman," and involve him in the plot, helps branch out the universe, have everything interconnected. Then bish bash bosh, there you go.
This is my issue. I don't think he should, because to me this would be the second movie that Batman's basically inserted in to sell the movie. And to me that kind of feels like DC's not really confident that their characters can sell a movie on their own. Which is why I kind of commend Marvel more than their movies than DC, because they're willing to take risks and have people like the Guardians be in it without having like Hulk or Iron Man in there. With this one, if they have a Batman in there, it just kind of shows to me that they're not confident that these characters can sell a movie and make it a hit.
Well, I wouldn't be blaming DC more than be blaming Warner Brothers,
Well,
really.
yeah, true.
I have a
know,
counterpoint
It's more
to
the
that.
studios meddling, but
Carol?
I think you're gonna do a movie that's built as a supervillain movie, then you shouldn't have it also have a big superhero in it, because then people are gonna be, unless it's like a little cameo at the end, like a little thing maybe, but not something that's a big part of the film. Because
Here's
no,
my
go on.
take on it. I think the movie doesn't need him, especially if you have the Joker. I think the Joker is a big enough name to hold the movie on its own. I think if Batman showed up, it would be a small cameo at the end to get us ready for whatever happens afterwards. I think with star power, like the cast that it has, and the characters that it has as well, with Joker and especially Harley, who's becoming very popular nowadays, I don't think a Batman is necessary. I don't even think Lex Luthor is necessary, but it looks like that's the path that they're going in. Uh, the other thing that will come out there is it's the second movie as part of this cinematic universe for Warner Brothers and DC. Do you think it's? I mean, I agree. It's a big risk. What do you think is the deal here? Why are they going with this? Why is it the first one? Is it because of Guardians? We'll start with Andrew.
yeah, probably. I think this probably because like it's Man of Steel, then Batman vs Superman, and then this. So this probably wasn't going to happen until later down the line. But they thought, hey, Guardians was a huge success. Why don't we, jump on that opportunity? We probably would have seen the Flash or Wonder Woman or something like that before this, but they thought, Guardians was a big hit. We might as well move Suicide Squad up a bit. And honestly, I think that was their main, you know, influence in having this movie so early.
Do you think it's an issue though?
I don't know. It could be, because in a way they're introducing, besides from Joker and Harley, what are essentially a bunch of minor characters. When, Marvel got their big guys out of the way first, and then they introduced the Guardians. They're going, hey, we got Aquaman and the Flash and Wonder Woman we still need to introduce, but we're going to have the Suicide Squad have their own movie first. It's but I can actually kind of see it working, because team-up movies have been really popular lately, so this could definitely be another one that shines.
We'll go to Stephen.
Well, I think Andrew probably got it right. I mean, look, Galaxy of the Guardians? Yes. Guardians of the Galaxy made a lot of money. They could throw out Wonder Woman there, or Aquaman, or whatever, but you might as well jump on the bandwagon, do a Galaxy of the for God's sake. Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know why I keep saying that. Esque movie out, and then get that out of the way. The thing is, though, I think it could be a good opportunity for them to, I don't know, just state their claim. Look, we have more characters that aren't Batman, even though they're thinking about putting Batman in it. That aren't Superman, that aren't aren't any of the Justice League members. We have these characters, and it gives you an opportunity to see the universe that they're building from a different perspective. Now, whether they built the universe up enough to provide a different perspective in the first place is another matter. But I'm not sure I trust them to do it correctly. But I give them kudos for trying, I guess, and hopefully it works out.
Now, Carol, we know that you've made it clear before that you think that this is probably going to be a flop. Do you still agree
No,
with that?
I
Yes.
said at the beginning, I thought it was going to
So-
be a flop if they didn't get this cast.
So, do you think even with the cast now, it's just because of the cast that it's going to make money?
I think that because it has Will Smith in it, and Will Smith is still a big name, at least to me. And then you have Jared Leto coming off an Oscar win, and then you have Tom Hardy. Those are
But
three big
what's your
names
take
in the
for the
movie
movie
industry.
itself? Did,
But what do you
did,
mean?
did they
Do I
go
think
out?
this
Did they
movie's
have to? Did Warner Brothers have to go out of their way to get this big cast because they don't have faith?
Yeah,
in this
I'm saying yes to that, Adam.
So you don't think there's any faith in this movie just because of the cast?
I think that shows that they don't have faith in the movie, that they had to get this big cast. Because, no offense to this comic, but why did this comic need all these big names? Not any other movies, like the Justice League maybe needed big names. Why did this film need big names if they trusted it?
What's a bigger problem with DC not having anybody's faith? So they have to get these big names because at this point Marvel has earned the faith and trust of their viewers by producing good movie after good movie. DC, on the other hand, has not. So they have to do this, or else just in case they get another flop like Green Lantern again.
So we're pretty much all in agreement that we all think Warner Brothers is pretty much afraid of what Marvel can do.
Yeah. They are. That's not even a question because why would they move the Batman and Superman movie?
Oh, we've been over this.
Yeah, but it's the truth. If they're not afraid, why would they do that? Why would they switch dates?
They've got every right to be afraid.
I know, but I'm just saying. Adam said what? Just saying it to Adam's point.
Okay.
Steven.
So are we all in agreement that is there a possibility that this could actually be good though?
Yeah. It just needs to have a good script.
I mean, the director that they got, David Ayer, Fury came out this year. Got really good praise. The movie was actually really good. It was well directed. The man knows his stuff when it comes to action movies. He might not have made the best movies, but when it comes to action and big explosion type deals, he is good for it. He obviously has faith in this movie. That's why he signed on. Obviously, there's possibility that this could be good. It could be this weird dark horse that just shocks everybody. As the second movie, maybe a little too risky. I would have went with Wonder Woman. I would have went with Flash because of the popularity with the TV show. But I don't know. That's my take. I think we're all in agreement though for what we think for the Suicide Squad. I take it.
Pretty much.
We'll move on now though to our second topic of the day. Which DC or Marvel character would you trade over? So pretty much it's a draft. You're gonna take one Marvel guy. You're gonna bring him to the DC. You think he's gonna do better there. All right, you're gonna take one DC guy. You're gonna bring him over to the Marvel side because you think he's gonna do better there. We're gonna start with Andrew.
Are we talking about the movies or just?
No, in comics in general. Like
Okay.
in general.
I'm gonna go obscure here, and I'm gonna say Black Panther to DC and Arrow to Marvel.
And your reasons.
Well, with Arrow, with the popularity of characters like Hawkeye and Falcon recently, I think Marvel could really capitalize on someone like that. And with Black Panther, he's kind of that, I don't know, I guess they could make him as a dark, gritty character, which DC has been, capitalizing with recently.
Do you think bringing Arrow over would have an issue clashing with Hawkeye? Do you think that's a good idea?
They could do maybe a team up, maybe a versus comic or something like that. It could be an issue in a way, if you wanted to, you could swap those two.
Mm-hmm.
But, for some reason, DC is like, oh, Arrow's doing really good, but they're not going to include him in the cinematic universe for some reason. So, I don't know. In a way, he's utilized but underutilized at the same time, and I think Marvel could really capitalize on a character like that.
All right, Carol, what would be your 2 drafts?
Well, he already chose one of mine because different way. I was gonna say Hawkeye to, DC so he could do a team with Arrow, but I have one that I just thought of. I would say switch Shazam over from Marvel, or not from DC to Marvel, for the fact that my problem with Shazam is that when I see him, I just think kind of Superman a little bit. I just think that he's a little bit hindered by Superman. If he went over to Marvel, there's not, unless I'm mistaken, there's not really a character like Shazam over there, and it would help him. The only one I can think of is kind of Thor, but at least for me, they're different.
Okay. They had Sentry, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah. And then, let me think. For Marvel, I would say, this one's hard. I skip Marvel. I don't have one for Marvel.
Well, so you'll stick with Hawkeye.
Yeah, but it would be just for a team with Green Arrow.
Do you think that they would do better with writing for Hawkeye in DC? Because as we've seen, his comic book recently, written by Matt Fraction over at Marvel, has been really very well when it comes to audiences. People really like Hawkeye. It's a shame that he's not being utilized enough. Do you think DC would utilize him?
For me, I think is that DC does a better job, and you guys might agree with me, might not. DC does a better job with superheroes that don't actually have superpowers than Marvel does. I think they do that better. So if you want to he'd have a better writing, and I just think him and Green Arrow team would be, because I don't know. I just think that they could kind of play off each other a little bit. I don't know how to fully. I might be wrong about this. Isn't Green Arrow kind of like a darker character? Like, at least recently, he's been a little bit darker and more serious.
Well, they've turned him darker because of his portrayal with the TV show.
And then Hawkeye's usually a comedy aspect, right? Or a little
nowadays in the comic books.
Yeah, so they would, if they did that, they could just play off each other. A serious and comedy, basically the same kind of character, but the 2 different styles of them.
Stephen.
All right, I'm gonna start with Marvel because the DC is a whole load of cluster. we get to that in a moment. So, from Marvel to DC, I would choose Black Widow because DC are trying to start this whole spiral organization thing, and I dropped Nightwing comic just before they introduced that thing. But it's apparently some kind of spy secret agent network thing in the DC universe. If they want to kickstart that, they could use a character like Black Widow. She's pretty utilitarian spy character. She can do whatever spy stuff you need her to do. She's a big name, so if you switch her over to DC, I think she could help the Spiral comic and help Nightwing and Huntress and whoever else is with Spiral as well. Which would be nice. I'm not sure if it'll benefit her exactly, but I don't care about Marvel characters, so I care about DC. I'm a DC guy. As for Marvel characters, from DC to Marvel, I couldn't choose between 4. One of them was Captain Marvel / Shazam, so I'm not going to say him, which leaves me with 3. Either Mr. I'm just going to choose one. I'm going to say Mr. Terrific. For those of you who don't... I was going to explain who he is, because some people might know him. If you don't know... Okay, good, because that would be long. I think Mr. Terrific kind of gets lost in the shuffle quite a bit. I think he's a good character, especially in the JSA comics before the whole reboot. I think he had a nice spot there where he's sort of like... He was one of the team leaders of JSA. He's there, he's a smart guy, he helps get things done, but he's also a bit of a skeptic, so you could pair him with someone who... I don't know, maybe someone like Doctor Strange, so you could compare the mystic stuff to technology that Mr. Terrific has, his logic and intelligence compared to the mystic and sorcery and all that. I think they could work together quite well, especially his reaction to seeing all that scary sorcery crap. So, yeah, I just came up with that off the top of my head. Yay!
Okay, so I decided to throw in my own here. Uh, I said put Doctor Strange in DC.
Okay.
I think he would do better in DC because he would be a perfect character to be involved with the Justice League Dark. I think him and like the Phantom Stranger and the Spectre and fucking Constantine. I think he would do awesome there. I feel like now they're obviously going to start using him a lot more because of the movie. But it feels like Doctor Strange hasn't had a lot of love lately until the movie was pretty much confirmed. I think DC knows how to work that really cool mystic stuff. I don't think there's anybody for Doctor Strange to work with in Marvel anymore when it comes to all of that crazy witchcraft and stuff. So I think DC would be the right place for him. Anybody agree? Anybody disagree?
I see what you're coming from.
I know, wouldn't he be a bit too similar to Doctor Fate in a way?
I think him and Doctor Fate would actually be cool clashing because you see, Strange does have a witty side to him, where Fate is really stone faced. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I think Strange would be really him and Zatanna would have some pretty good team ups together. I think DC knows how to make better sorcery characters than Marvel does, and which is weird because, as Carol pointed out, DC knows how to do real characters that have no superpowers better than Marvel, who knows how to work with their superpowers. I just don't think Strange has had a lot of love lately, and I think he's only going to get love now because they need to sell tickets for the movie. The other character I would have brought over to DC as well, I had nothing from Marvel because I really couldn't think much, was Wolverine.
Oh god.
Wolverine.
I would think Wolverine would do really well in DC because of his dark grittiness, and DC knows how to make dark, gritty characters very well, and I think Wolverine would be a pretty cool character to see in that universe. And Steven, it sounded like you didn't agree.
Well, they've already got enough dark and gritty and god-powered characters. They don't need another one.
I
Well,
thought of another Marvel to DC one.
Go shoot. What do you have to have?
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Because they got a lot of dark characters they could really use like kind of a lighthearted character like Deadpool.
But
See,
no, let me say this. The thing is that Deadpool's was started as a parody of Deadshot.
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
We were talking about Deathshot earlier, so I thought that, but you get it. He was started as a parody of him.
True.
Oh, you know how it would be hilarious if you saw those two faces.
If Deadpool went over to Marvel, a lot of fanboys would be very happy to see him and Harley together.
See, I don't do that shipping thing.
If you read the Harley Quinn comics that are coming out now, a lot of people are comparing Harley as the DC Deadpool, actually.
Oh, no.
Because
I just got confused for a second, because I thought you just said if Deadpool went over to Marvel.
You did.
Yeah. I made a mistake. I meant
yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty much taken the role as DC's Deadpool, the breaking the fourth wall, fun-loving type character. I don't know if Deadpool would actually work in DC. I don't know if they would know how to do him right. I think Deadpool in Marvel is fine where he is. I think Deadpool on his own would be fine, even.
He would start talking in a deep voice all of a sudden.
It would be funny to see him and Batman interact, though. He would piss off Batman so easily. That would actually be very. I would actually want to see that now.
Well, that's why you have to get Guy Gardner. He's basically dead. How dare you, sir?
Kyle Rayner, Hal Jordan better. Anyway, let's move on to our third topic. As we know, the Batman solo movie was pretty much announced, as well as another Superman sequel. As of right now, it seems like Joker is going to be the villain, as much as I detest that, because I'm sick and tired of Joker always having to be the main villain of a Batman movie. So the question is, with that movie coming out, who would you want to be the villain, and who would be your casting choice for said villain? We'll start with Carol.
Don't start with me because I had to think about this.
All right, we'll start with Stephen.
Oh my god, you didn't mention the casting thing before. Oh, actually, I know the casting. What am I talking about? Sort of. Right. So I would probably have two villains because usually Batman Batman movies have more than one villain. So I'd have the main villain be Black Mask because I think he's an underrated Batman villain who could work as the crime boss that Batman has to take down, and he has to take down his goons and everything. And I think he's different from Penguin. He's I wouldn't say crazy. Well, I suppose he is crazier, but and it's difficult to explain his character. You should watch which one of the animated movies was he in?
He was in Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, watch that, and I think you'll come around on Black Mask being the main villain. I just think he needs more screen time. Now, for the secondary villain, I would, and probably going to get groans from this, but I would pick Deathstroke. Because I think he's an all-purpose mercenary, that he's the kind of guy that Black Mask would hire to... And we're not going to go with the Arkham Origins nonsense where Black Mask turns out to be a Joker. No, it's Black Mask that hires Deathstroke to get the job done on Batman, and Batman finally... Well, I don't know about it in the continuity, but he faces someone who's as intelligent as he is, as skilled as he is, and he has to work his way through the movie and overcome Deathstroke before getting to Black Mask. Now, to play Deathstroke, I know this would never happen, but I'd take Manu Bennett, because I think he was great in Arrow until they saddled him with that stupid, crazy, forlorn lover thing, and even then he did the best he could with that. But before that, he was great as this charming... wasn't a villain then, but you could get the vibes that he was ruthless and everything. I think he worked that angle well. Black Mask... JBL. He had a Texas accent.
To be honest, when I think Black Mask, the only person I can think of, there's no way it could happen nowadays because of his age. But I would have, if it was in his prime, I would have done Al Pacino.
That would have worked.
That's perfect casting right there.
Well, too bad he's a bit too old for that.
Yeah, he's a little too old to be Black Mask nowadays. I do agree with Deathstroke, even though my cast would be Ron Perlman.
I have a few.
Well, you can only do one or two, like Steve.
Okay.
Just don't be like Spider-Man movies that have 5.
Okay. Well, saying that Joker wouldn't be in it, I'd have Neil Patrick Harris as the Riddler. Everyone was saying this needed to happen in the Nolan trilogy, and I honestly think it's an example of perfect casting. If Neil Patrick Harris does play the Riddler. Another one I was thinking, and this is kind of a, never gonna happen kind of thing, but Ra's al Ghul, but have it be Bryan Cranston. I don't know, for some reason, I mean, if he wasn't cast as Lex Luthor, I don't think he'd be Ra's al Ghul or a character similar to that, but I don't know, for some reason I think it could work. And then I was kind of toying with the idea of maybe like Peter Dinklage as the Penguin, but because of X-Men Days of Future Past, I don't think that's going to fucking happen.
Penguin's not that tiny.
Well, they got to emphasize it. I mean, if Danny DeVito was the Penguin, they can continue the midget route.
All right. I don't think DeVito's considered a midget.
Okay, he's short.
We'll go over to Carroll.
I'm forgetting his name right now.
The actor or the character?
I can't think of an actor for him, but I know the character. I just think this would be good. No. I'll give you... the villain in Batman that basically portrayed Tom Wayne?
Hush.
Yeah, Hush.
Oh,
I think... What?
No, that's sorry.
Hush was really cool.
I think that would work for the fact that... I think just for the main aspect that you would have it where Batman has to deal with basically fighting his father and having to see the emotional toll that it takes on him would be really good, especially in a dark film. I think that would be very good. Or
his father.
No, there's a character that I think it was Hush that basically had the look of his father.
The deal with Hush is that I forget his childhood friend pretty much masks himself to look like Thomas Wayne. And it's revealed at the end that it's not his father, but his best friend from when he was a child, who, as a child, always wished his parents were dead and wished that he had Bruce's life, pretty much, and he never got that. Really fucked up story. Um,
And I have another
and
one.
what he does is he takes the image of not just Thomas Wayne, but also of Jason Todd, who had also died in Batman's care as well. It would definitely be an interesting movie. It's just I think it's too much to put in one movie.
Now, you just said the other one. I was going to say, this would be weird, but Red Hood, Jason Todd as the main villain.
Any casting idea for that?
Ones that seem a little bit too unreal.
Say it anyway.
Well,
Made it clear.
It would be a really dream casting. Have you guys seen the show Supernatural?
no.
Nope.
It's one of the guys from there. Let me find him exactly. I have an idea what his name is, but I just want to make sure it's not the other guy that I'm thinking of. Okay. But he would be a really good version of him. Jensen Ackles.
No,
He also, I think, voiced Jason Todd in a bunch of. Yeah, he voiced Jason Todd in Batman Under the Red Hood. That's why I think he would be good. But I just think that it would be cool and finally would be good to have it where Robin's a big role, and fuck Batman and Robin, but Robin's a big role in a Batman film and actually be the main villain against him. And the way I would set up, maybe it wouldn't be the exactly the right story, but basically Jason Todd is blaming, has hate for Batman for the fact that Batman basically took his life away from him and forced him to be what Batman wanted him to be.
so you wouldn't go down the route where pretty much he dies because of Joker and wants revenge, not just on Joker but on Batman.
Maybe that, but then he just also he blames that on Batman for the fact that Batman forced him to be Robin and he caused his death and all that. I think that would be cool just to have something like that. It wouldn't have to be a real villain, but it would just be something cool and different.
It definitely would bring some appeal because, as we know, there is also rumors that Carrie Kelly is going to be casted as the Robin for Batman v Superman. So it'd be cool to see if we get a backstory to, Batman had a Robin before that. It's Jason Todd. We get interaction between him and Carrie Kelly.
You bring that up.
I think it would work.
You bring that up too. That if you do, I forgot about that. If you do that, he can find her in a later movie and say, I died and you basically replaced me just like that. You didn't care about me. I'm just a piece of meat to you.
I think definitely would work.
I don't know. I just think something like that would be good and would be something new, not just like, hey, Joker, like how you said, hey, it's a Joker again.
Exactly. For me, I went with Riddler. I've always wanted to see Riddler do justice. I'm not saying Jim Carrey did bad, but he was too much like the Joker and not enough like the Riddler.
I have one person I think who could fit the Riddler after you say it.
My two choices, I went with a younger guy and an older guy because Riddler's had older interpretations and younger interpretations. For my younger interpretation, I went with Wes Bentley, who has been he was in Interstellar, he was in American Beauty, and he was in Hunger Games. Really cool guy. You can see him as this conniving and snarky, douchebag who just likes to, play riddles and just wants to have fun with fucking with Batman. I think he would be great. My older interpretation would be Ray Fiennes, who everybody would know as Voldemort or Red Dragon. That he's a fantastic actor, and also very creepy, very disturbing. And if they're gonna go down the Nolan route, which it looks like they're doing, where everything's got to be dark and gritty, he would be really cool as the Riddler. Sort of, it would be kind of like the Riddler from the Arkham games, mixed with how he was in that shitty The Batman TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would do great as that, but those would be my two casting choices. Everybody would say, Leo DiCaprio or some shit. I don't think he would do very well as.
I have one.
But go ahead.
And you it's ironic that you brought up Voldemort because he was also in Harry Potter. David Tennant.
I was gonna say.
I think David Tennant would be a good role because I think David Tennant's really good, and I'm waiting for him because Doctor Who's a big deal. I'm just waiting for him to get that big movie role that ever since he stopped Doctor Who, that big move role, and I think that would work. Either him or I would prefer him over Matt Smith, but I still think Matt Smith would be good. I just think one of those two would be a good Riddler. Mostly David Tennant, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could for Riddler. I could take another thing out of the Harry Potter book and go with guy who played Lucius Malfoy, Jason Isaacs. I think he would make a decent Riddler.
Is he doing anything now?
He's in Star Wars Rebels. That's it.
Well,
Um,
I take it it's safe to say that we would all really enjoy seeing the Riddler.
Yeah, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
brought up Pacino like 10 minutes ago. He apparently has met with Marvel Studios, so I guess I guess he can be in a comic book movie.
Why?
By the way, speaking of Harry Potter again, I just thought of this one. It might be the fact that I'm a big fan of him. I would like to see Daniel Radcliffe as Red Hood, or maybe just something in the Batman series.
I could actually
Maybe
be down
Red
with that.
or a little bit of a Nightwing. I just think Daniel Radcliffe is a very good actor, and he needs to be utilized more ever since the Harry Potter films ended, because I don't know. I think that it might be the fact that he's a little bit too short, and people are like, oh, he can't play roles. I'm like, what about Tom Cruise then?
The problem with a Radcliffe as Red Hood is that they wouldn't be like, oh, that's Robin. They'd be, oh, that's Harry Potter.
Well, that's how a lot of people are until they fucking, sorry for the language, but until they see them in stuff, they all think, hey, what's an example?
That's
trying
Fresh
to
Prince
think
of
of
Bel-Air.
one. No, shut up, Steven. Okay. I'm
What?
trying to think of one. I just had one.
Leonard Nimoy.
No, there's just I don't know what I'm saying, but there's a lot of people who think, hey, there's I'll give you an example a little bit to me. Now this really goes towards people who watch the show. People who watched The Hobbit and saw Sherlock probably thought, hey, it's why am I fucking forgetting his name
Martin
right now?
Freeman.
Yeah, Martin Freeman. They see Martin Freeman. I'm forgetting Sherlock's comrade. I don't know why I'm forgetting this right now, but you know what I'm talking about.
Watson.
Yeah, Watson. They think, hey, there's Watson, but now I would say that people think of him more as
Bilbo.
Yeah, Bilbo. Because I just think that just because you're known for something else doesn't mean you can't do another thing. Because look at Ben Affleck. Honestly, people. I think once the Batman movie comes out, because I think he'll be a better Batman than, fucking overrated Christian Bale. That's a different
You
topic.
can save that for another day.
Well,
I just think
you can bring up Christian Bale was known as fucking American Psycho
Psycho.
for the longest time, and now he's known as Batman.
We need to wrap this topic.
I'll wrap you up.
What's that?
I was going to say something else, but I think we're going to go a little over time, so let's get the others. We'll save that for another day. The next topic, big thing. Marvel hasn't done wrong in a lot of people's eyes. They just announced the next slate for the next, I think, until 2020. What our next Marvel movies are going to be, from Ant-Man all the way up to Infinity War Part 2, or Inhumans. I forget which one comes before which.
Or Part 2.
A lot of people are thinking, Marvel can do no wrong, but some people have their doubts that one of these movies might not actually work. Everybody had their thoughts about Guardians of the Galaxy being this huge disaster, and I think it's the highest grossing movie of the year. What do we think possibly could be the first flop by Marvel Studios? We'll
I'll
start
start
with
it
Cal.
off. It's either going to be Ant-Man, even though I'm excited for it, or the one I think is going to be is Inhuman.
Reasons.
Because, no offense, well, Ant-Man is just because they have a lot of bad stuff to it.
Mm.
So maybe just the movie won't be that good because of how... I think money-wise, Ant-Man's going to bring, but it probably may not be the best movie. But I think Inhumans, no offense, but I'm not that interested in Inhumans, because the way it's been described to me as this is just our X-Men since we can't have an X-Men, and that doesn't seem that, interesting to me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And at the time it comes out, unless I'm saying it comes out in between a lot of big stuff. Like, when does it come out?
If I'm not mistaken, it comes out in between both parts of the Avengers Infinity.
Yeah. And
So it has a lot to hold up for.
And Shazam.
now,
comes
if
out.
you're talking to...
And Shazam?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Well, that's not Marvel, but
but that's... still
All
gonna,
right.
Now, here's another one. I'm gonna wrap this up with this. If you can say just all Marvel films in general and not just the cinematic universe, it's gonna be the Fantastic Four.
I think
It's gonna
we
be
all
that movie.
Well, I mean, the first two movies bombed, so
Did
this
they?
one's not going to be any different. Well, they got shit on. I don't know if they.
That's not a
think,
bomb.
I think the Fantastic Four is pretty much a dead horse, and they're beating it still, and I don't think it's necessary. But
And the fact that they've already announced a sequel.
I think they're
problem.
rushing. I think they're rushing way too fast, but that's Fox's issue, and I don't know what they're doing wrong. They can make the X-Men movies well, but they fucked up the Fantastic Four. But I don't think there's need for a Fantastic Four in this society, especially with the fact that the comic book is finally being shut down. So I don't know what they're doing wrong there. But we'll go to Stephen.
See, I think I was going through a list of Marvel movies, and I kept thinking, will this one be a flop? Will this one be a flop? Ant-Man was the first one I had as an idea. It might be a flop, but then it's got Paul Rudd in it, and again I think Marvel will still be riding high. I mean that's the next one after Galaxy, right?
It's after Ultron.
Is it? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
fine. After Ultron, they're still going to be riding high off the momentum off of that, because that's even if it's not that good, people are still going to flock to see it, and they're still going to love it more than likely. So I don't think that's, at the very least, even if that's a bad movie, it's going to carry the momentum of Marvel logo being there, and it'll do fine. I'm going to go with, okay, excluding the Fantastic Four, because, oh dear God, that's a pile of turd. I'm going to agree with Carol, and I think it's going to be in Inhumans, because by 2018, we're going to have a shit ton of, pardon me, comic movies, and I think people will start to get tired. What the?
Let's continue here.
Jesus Christ, my ears. Anyway, I think people get tired by comic book movies by this point, and at the end of the day, Inhumans, like Carol says, is basically X-Men, but not X-Men. We're already going to have the X-Men movies by then, and are people really going to care about Inhumans, even if it's got a Marvel logo slapped on it by this point? I don't think so. So, if anything...
It might be their... Sorry.
Go on.
It might be their Suicide Squad where they would have to get a big cast for it.
Well, from what the rumors are stating is that there's a possibility that if anybody watches the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show, that is going to actually tie over into the Inhumans, because there's rumors that the main actress who plays Skye is apparently Crystal, who is an Inhuman.
Oh, my God.
So, if that's the case, do you think that's a good way to get people excited for Inhumans because of the TV show?
It's too soon. Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't doing... I mean, it's doing good when you compare it to, say, Flash or Arrow in terms of ratings, but in terms of what they set themselves up for, and what they had... how the ratings declined from the first episode till now, I'm not sure if they're going to be around by the time 2018 rolls around. They're setting up in 2014-15. That's a bit too soon, I think. I mean, if it was, say, 2016-17, then I think it would help the movie. Seeing that it's now, not too sure about it.
Andrew?
Alright, I apologize. That was my smoke alarm.
Great.
I think it could be one of three. I think it could be Ant-Man, Inhumans, or, and I hate to say it, Captain Marvel. Because there's still going to be, ooh, a female superhero movie might be a bit risky.
Well,
and when I think of that, I'm like, it's different now. But then when you look at the track record,
I mean, Wonder Woman does come out before it, so...
That and Captain
Wonder
Marvel
Woman
isn't
succeeds-
really a big name. Like, you'd think with their first one would be a Black Widow one, but no.
You see, Captain Marvel is going to be linked with the whole Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
Yeah.
So they can piggyback off that, I imagine.
Yeah,
I think we're all pretty much thinking...
I think Ant-Man, though, might be the first one that gets, like, shit on critically. But, I don't know. I think it could be one of those three.
Do we think there's a need for an Ant-Man movie?
No.
I mean, his literally his only purpose is he creates Ultron. Yet,
He's yeah.
you know, Iron Man's creating Ultron. So
He-
just
and
don't.
They probably had an opportunity just to get Paul Rudd cast, and then they're like, "Hey, Paul Rudd, comedy movie, get him."
I think Ant Man is not, especially coming off of Ultron. I mean, have Ant Man be that random movie in the middle of like Black Panther and Marvel or some shit that no one's gonna care about. It's just there because we.
What I don't get is originally it was going to start up Phase 3, but now it's ending Phase 2.
I
And I think that has a lot to I think that has a lot to do with the fact that it's pretty much gone through hell and high water with casting changes. Edgar Wright leaving after being attached to it for like 6 years. Scripts changing and everything. It's when people see that stuff, it does give a bad taste in their mouth before they go watch it because they're like, I'm gonna go watch something that's half-assed. I don't know if it's gonna do as well. I don't even think Disney or Marvel really care for it at the moment because there is barely any publicity for it.
The movie comes out in 7 months, and there hasn't been a single trailer,
Yeah, that's
not
kind
even
of
a
the issue.
teaser.
I mean, Ultron has a trailer already. A
is
lot of shit.
is it
Apparently, Superman and Batman are scheduled to have a trailer in like 2 months, and that comes out after this. If they're not already, and apparently Ant-Man apparently just finished shooting, but some movies that don't finish shooting right away already give you at least a teaser. We haven't seen anything for this, so how bad is it going on the set?
Marvel doesn't. I don't think Marvel needs to release a trailer or anything because, again, I think if you slap the Marvel logo on, okay, if you slap the Marvel Studios logo on something, then people will flock to see it regardless of any promotion or whether it's being had good write-ups or anything like that.
Yeah, okay, so anyway, we're going to move on to our last question here. Um, what, in our case, we'll have this will be a little fun question. Uh, Best comic book death, whether it be TV show, movie, or comics in general. What had the biggest impact? What maybe it's something that you attach to emotionally or personally? What's the best comic book death? Or maybe it's just something that was really badass. We'll start with Carol.
Okay, does it have to be best, or can it be one that left me the
In your
most?
opinion, it's in your opinion. What is the
So
best?
does it have to be best, or can it be just what left me most stunned and shocked and all
Well,
that?
that's technically the best to you then. So
Well, it's not the best because I hated it, but it just left me so shocked by it.
I'll say it.
The way Zod died in the new Man of Steel.
Give your reasons. Obviously, this is a big topic.
Because to me, the way he just snapped. Okay, it's gonna be a little rant. One, the way he snapped his neck is not how Superman would do something like that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's just asinine right there. Two, this is movie logic, but those humans could have just ran forward and turned left and got out of the way of the beams. But let's just stand there. And then three, the thing that pisses me off is that only a few months later, in Superman's back to his normal self, doesn't even have any type of personal demons of killing Zod at all. Just fuck it, screw him. I'm Superman. I can do what I want.
I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that Warner Brothers has pretty much made it clear that they want all of their movies to follow in the footsteps of what the Nolanverse was. Dark and gritty. It's even come to a point where they've stated that they have a no comedy policy for their movies.
Did
They
they?
don't want
I don't think they officially
they
say.
don't want to be like Marvel. They want to be dark and gritty. I don't know if that's needed for every movie, especially something like
They
a
can't
Suicide
do
Squad.
that.
But that's a different topic for another video. But
I'll just say this: they can't do that if they keep rebooting everything.
true. But the fact that Nolan will be on, he was on set for for Man of Steel, and apparently he's been on set not as like a producer or anything, but to just watch over for um, Batman v Superman. Which, on the other hand of that, there is the fact that Affleck and his Oscar award winning screenwriter for Argo, is writing the script. So that's a good thing because Zach can do good movies if he has a good script. But like I said, different topic, different video. Steven.
Obviously, I didn't read this because it happened in the 80s, I believe, late 80s. Well, it was Infinite Crisis, I believe. I really should have looked this up beforehand. But,
You mean Crisis of Infinite Earths?
I the one with Antimatter.
You mean Identity Crisis?
No, that the first time Antimatter turned up.
Just get on with it.
Okay, God damn it. Anyway, yeah, so when Barry Allen died, aka The Flash,
Right.
because at the time it was this big thing. You know, he was one of the first mainstay superheroes they had, and they had him die in such a climactic fashion to end the threat that was affecting the entire universe. And you know, the way he died was very emotional, and unlike most superhero deaths, it stuck until it didn't. Around
Well,
2009.
no, nobody ever really dies in comic books,
But that one lasted more than 20 years, so they got close.
which is good. Which is
Yeah,
pretty good for comic book standards. I mean, look what happened with Superman when he died.
yeah.
But let's not talk about that.
But see, I think it was a great death. I think they should have kept him dead as much as he is a good character, and I think they should have left Wally as the main Flash. And Barry Allen's return heralded the decline and subsequent blackification of Wally West. And let me
Not a fan of Wally, I take it.
I love previous Wally. I don't like. I could go on a rant, and this could happen in another podcast, whatever. I'd like to preface this by saying that I have black heritage, so I'm not saying this because I'm racist or anything. I'm saying this because they turned Wally into a black delinquent who with a crime record for no reason. So.
Um, as for most of you, Andrew has disappeared on us, so he will not be answering this question, sadly. Um, I'll give mine at least. It's from Identity Crisis, which was a big thing, and it's not elastic, elongated man's wife dying or the
Sue
big,
Dibney.
big what?
Sue Dibney.
Yes, it's the death of Tim Drake's father.
Really?
I know it's random, but it's how it was played out. The whole backstory really to Tim Drake is he just wanted to be Robin because he thought it was cool. Batman had always continuously told him, "Hey, this is a big deal. I don't want you to get hurt." And Tim was not like Jason or Dick, where something had happened to him and Batman took him under his wing. Tim just wanted to be Robin because he thought it was entertaining. He thought it was cool. Because he still had his father and everything. The thing about Identity Crisis is the scene where modern Captain Boomerang is pretty much his dad dies, and then he goes and he kills Tim Drake's father. He gets killed, and Tim finds him, and it's the scene where Batman finally, he finds Tim Drake and he sees what has happened, and you can see it in the way that it's drawn and the dialogue that Batman finally has, he now sees that he can, accept Tim Drake because Tim's father is dead. Batman's father is dead, and it's a very touching scene because the entire time Batman's been a hard ass on Tim, and just them hugging at that last scene is very teary eyed because Batman is this cold hearted bastard most of the time, but he does have a sweet side. And this is one of those rare moments where it comes out and it's not forced and it's not played up for no reason to have a really bad ending towards it. It's very, very good, and to me it's the best death. I could have went with Jason Todd's death, but they retconned it and then Red Hood shows up, and that's how it works. But just a minor character like this, they're not going to come back because it's just some guy's father. I mean, if that was the case, why doesn't Thomas Wayne come back? Yes, he's in the other dimension for the paradox, but that doesn't count. I think this is an amazing death because it builds the relationship between Tim and Batman, which wasn't there as much before as he's had with both Dick and Jason. Anybody have anything to say about each other's deaths?
Well, see, I've never been a Tim Drake fan, so when I learned that his dad died, I was like, eh. But just mind the character getting killed off for me, so it didn't have any effect.
I think we're all pretty much against everything Man of Steel is.
We should probably talk about that at some point.
Oh my god, I don't want to, but we're gonna have to.
For
I
another
want to
time.
talk how bad fucking Origins is for X-Men, but we can do that as well as another time. But this has been the first Different Panels podcast. I've been your host, Adam, along with Carroll, Stephen, and the absence Andrew. Thank you for joining us, and remember, always turn the page.